Dolphins up in Baltimore this weekend, taking on my Baltimore Ravens. It is weird because we've played the Ravens a lot recently. We've played them like 4 out of the last 5 years or something like that. So it's very
Yeah,
weird for me as a Dolphins fan to continually having as a Dolphins and a Ravens fan to continue to have to toe this line of I like the Ravens, I like the Dolphins. Obviously, the Dolphins gets my loyalty here, but it is weird. Like I know you don't really have a second team in the
yeah,
NFL. Like you like players, but your second team is really just your fantasy team. It's
yeah,
like whoever's on your fantasy teams who's we're like, no, I still have the Ravens. I'm like, it's really difficult for me.
yeah. And it's because we keep finishing same in our
It's
divisions.
so
So
weird.
we were second in the division a couple years ago, and so were the Ravens. And last year we were third in the division, and so were the Ravens. So that's just how the chips fall. So we get to play them again this year. They are very depleted on defense
Yeah.
and a little bit of on offense. At least injury wise, we're not even talking about their wide receiver core right now, but
Not the
just
best.
just injury wise, you're gonna have to go up against their secondary. They lost Kyle Fuller. Marlon Humphrey didn't play last week, and he has practiced on limited role this week. So he may get his first start, but then you also have your other two corners, which are either limited or not practicing. I forgot their names, but they're backup corners. So your top four corners are all injured in some way and might or might not play against, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Cedric Wilson. Cedric Wilson is actually limited this week with a toe injury. I did see that. Dolphins are also without Austin Jackson for the next 4 games.
Yeah, that news came down today. That does hurt. I mean, Austin Jackson is not somebody to write home about, but he is an upgrade over anybody else we have as backups on the offensive line.
Greg Little did hold his own a little bit last week. Uh, but what happens if Teron Armstead? He's been limited all week. Didn't participate 2 of the 3 days so far. He was limited today, and he's questionable for Sunday. So are we going to be down 2 tackles? And then
Yeah.
last week we saw a blunder of just shuffling on that offensive line. So at first Jackson went down, so Little stepped in at right tackle. Then Teron Armstead went down for a couple plays, and they moved Liam Eichenberg over
Your
there.
brother.
Not my brother. Uh,
That's Liam Eichenberg's brother, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody watching this for the first time, you didn't know
yeah, that is my brother.
that.
But so the move Liam Eichenberg to left tackle, and he did awful in those two
Yeah,
plays.
he was probably our worst player last
and,
Sunday.
and they put Robert Jones over at left guard. There was one point uh, in which Robert Hunt played right tackle for a couple plays. I can't remember what it was, what the situation was, but Robert Hunt was at right tackle and Robert Jones went in as right guard.
That's something that I might do if I was the Dolphins. I might look to do because Robert Hunt, outside of Armstead, obviously, is our best offensive lineman. And with Tua being a lefty, that right tackle position
Key.
is arguably more important than the left tackle. Like you signed Teron Armstead to play left tackle. He's the best, one of the best left tackles in the league. Don't just try to force him into being right tackle because a lot of offensive linemen say, like, well, for us, it just seems so black and like, oh, just do everything just the opposite side.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of offensive linemen like to say, like, it's like trying to write with your left hand. It's
Yeah.
like it's like you think like you should know how to do it, but you got to actually do it, and it doesn't work. So I don't want to just try to plug Armstead over there. Robert Hunt, who already plays on the right side of the line, I think it'd be a very good idea to try to just see what
And,
happens
and
at
he
the right
did play
tackle.
his entire rookie season. He played right tackle.
Yeah, well, I don't. He
So
was kind of the entire offensive line was kind of shuffling around the last few years. So like
yeah,
he hasn't really had a home. We think his home is going to be right guard, and I'm completely okay with that.
well, they think he's gonna. They think he has a Pro Bowl capabilities at right guard. Have yet to see consistency from him. If he's consistent, then he can be that level. But once again, Miami players never really get Pro Bowl votes anyway. So, example Xavier Howard. But just like he played right tackle. That was our only good thing that year was he consistently did play right tackle in the 2020 season, or sorry, 2019 season, first year of
Whatever it was,
Flores. Uh, and so that was when Kinley played right guard, but we no longer have Kinley. I don't think he signed to anybody yet,
he stinks.
but
You're not going to touch. I know you in your my blood starts to boil when you start to defend trash Dolphins or
I'm
former
not.
Dolphins players?
I'm not defending anybody here.
Oh yeah, what was
Simply
our conversation about Kenyon Drake before we started here?
he's a good backup, and
He's terrible.
he's not meant to start.
He's not a top 50 running back. We listed
Okay.
at least 10 running backs in the AFC West alone that are better than Kenyon Drake.
So, anyways, going back to what I was saying, sir. Uh, so at right guard, we can plug in Robert Jones, who he wasn't bad when he came in at he played right tackle the last game last year. And Greg Little played left tackle last game last year, and that was probably our best offensive game uh, as far as the offensive line goes. So that's an option if Tron Armstead can't go. Put Hunt at right tackle and put Robert Jones at right guard and move Greg Little to left tackle. That way, we still have Eichenberg at left guard, and we still have Connor Williams throwing high snaps at center.
Yeah, hopefully they figured the offensive line out because the running game was still something that was a weak point last week. We were obviously hoping for Edmonds and Mostert to have an impact. They mostly had their impact. Well, Edmonds mostly had it in the passing game, but even Mostert, like their two biggest plays were both in the passing game. Edmonds picked up a few key third downs for us. Mostert had that one pass he caught where he made a few guys miss, took it for 15 yards or so. But overall, the running game wasn't good. Finished with, I think, like 65 yards or something on the ground.
Yeah, it was 65.
It's not great by any means. And Tua also faced a lot of pressure last week from the defensive front of the New England Patriots, and probably going to face the same amount of pressure from the Ravens this week. But speaking of quarterback getting pressure, the key for the Dolphins to win this game is getting pressure on Lamar Jackson. We saw that last year. We saw the Thursday night game down here in Miami. We both were at that game, and it was a very slow game, mostly because the Dolphins' offense could not move the ball with Jacoby Brissett in the first half. The Dolphins' defense, however, completely controlled Lamar Jackson. Had 2 turnovers, as 2 interceptions. One of those being pick six, Xavier Howard. One of them being
fumble.
He had a fumble too. That's right. So 3 total turnovers, and just nothing was there. Had less than 200 yards in the air. Had, I think, like 30 yards on the ground. And the Dolphins just outright controlled him. Young guys, Jalen Phillips had a really good game. He was able to contain him really well. And I do not want to see Jalen Phillips playing coverage again. Jalen Phillips playing coverage was what gave the Patriots their only touchdown of the game. He's supposed to be in the flat. He sticks with I think it was Jonnu Smith who just runs a straight line up the middle. 2 guys stay on him. Ty Montgomery literally rolls himself into the end zone. I don't want to see Phillips playing protection, pass protection. I don't want to see Melvin Ingram playing pass protection. We have guys that can do that, and those are not the guys. Now, our linebacking court isn't necessarily the best against the pass, but when you have a young blossoming star in Jalen Phillips and you have Melvin Ingram, who's again a great rusher, I don't want to sacrifice the work they put in or the ability they have rushing the quarterback, and especially this week with Lamar Jackson. Mac Jones, all right. I can definitely understand maybe mixing up a few coverages because Jalen Phillips can get to the quarterback. Melvin Ingram can get to the quarterback. The Patriots know that. But what they don't expect is them to roll back in coverage. You're not really worrying about Mac Jones rolling out and making a play with his feet. So you can disguise coverages to put those guys in coverage where you never expect that. We saw that a couple of years ago against the Rams. Christian Wilkins getting an interception because he fell back it looked like a zero blitz. Wilkins, the one that falls back, gets an interception.
Yeah, the amoeba defense. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, so like you can do that against the Patriots or against Jared Goff, non-mobile quarterbacks, where you roll out you let your best pass rushers stay back in coverage. You're not doing that against Lamar Jackson.
No,
you're bringing your best pass rushers at him, and then also they should, since they are your best pass rushers, they should know best on how to keep him contained. And Lamar Jackson easily is the biggest S factor of this game for both teams. He has a great game. He balls out. Ravens win. If the Dolphins control him, likely the Dolphins win.
Yeah, and it really just comes down to how does the defense really play against Lamar Jackson. And an interesting matchup also is going to be Holland on Mark Andrews.
Yes. So because Eric Rowe, he doesn't look like he's going to be playing this Sunday based off the injury report.
Yeah. Even then, Holland, I mean, he's really good in coverage. Probably one of the best safeties in the NFL.
I agree.
And I'm not even saying that biasly. That's just how it is.
It's impossible to not be at least a little.
It's a little bit biased, but like when you have even Ben Volen of the Patriots praising Javon Holland, like that's
He's
saying
a stud.
something.
He should have had 2 interceptions last week if
Yeah.
it not for Duke Riley hitting off the butt.
Yeah, yeah. Even then, Ben Volen said that Javon Holland played dirty, but whatever. Ben Volen sucks.
Let him dance in the secondary.
Exactly. But yeah, so it's just sorry, my phone rang. Um, we need to contain Lamar Jackson, and we did that last year by zero blitz over and over and over and over again. And they probably got worse receivers this year.
100%. No Hollywood this year.
There's no Hollywood this year, and he was probably the only one that got separation last year. Like, yeah, we're down Byron Jones, but you're down Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, like
So,
that's
so
there's no hope of him coming back, and haven't really replaced him. Like Duvernay had 2 touchdowns last week, and Mark Andrews didn't have necessarily the best of games. Bateman's still there, and he's still blossoming. But yeah, their pass game is really nothing. And
yeah,
Lamar does have a decent arm, so like he could burn you over the top, but you don't trust him to get there accurately.
yeah,
He can make the throws, but it's not like when we played them at home when they beat us like 48-10, where
yeah,
he had no pressure. He could sit back there all day long, had a perfect quarterback rating. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen on
yeah,
Sunday. And he doesn't necessarily he doesn't throw the ball under pressure that
yeah.
well.
And the offensive line for the Ravens is also hammered by injuries right now. I think like three of their starting offensive linemen are injured in some way or another. A couple of them are questionable. One of them's out, I think. Um, and it goes back to that once again. Like, is Lamar Jackson going to have pressure? And Dolphins aren't good at zone coverage. We've already I discussed that every single time I talk about their defense. But they may be able to get away with more zone this week, even if like they have like a linebacker sit back and play zone while they're playing man on the outside. But just so you have everybody just at the quarterback. I trust, having Holland, Jones, Needham, and X out there while everybody else rushes the quarterback, even if it's a 5 wide. Like that's how confident I am in this defense and our defensive line getting to the quarterback.
Yeah, yeah. That's you definitely got to play man. We saw last week played a little bit of zone. That's when Mac Jones had his. That's when Mac Jones looked decent last week when he played zone.
Yeah.
Playing man against Lamar Jackson is dangerous because if he does break contain and you have all the corners with their back to them, that's a big play waiting to happen. He's done it time and time again where he's been able to break contain and get outside. That is dangerous, but that's a sword I'm willing to fall on if that's what ends up happening because I don't want him just sitting back there having all the time in the world. I don't think he's necessarily the best reader of the defense, even especially as a Ravens fan. Like I've seen it. So if it definitely throw zone in there, like don't just give him straight man the entire game. Like mix it up a little bit, and I still expect us to mix passages to the skies, our blitzes and stuff like that. Um, but Lamar Jackson, if he can stay contained, that's the key. And then with our quarterback Tua, gotta protect him better than we did last week. Like he was sacked I think twice, had the fumble that was jumped on, and we were able to keep that. But both quarterbacks, I mean, obviously, it's football. Obviously, the quarterback's the most important, but it really is. Can we protect Tua, and does he have enough time to get the ball out there? Because the corners, like you mentioned, the secondary is not the strong suit. Now, their safeties are nice. That is, the corners aren't the best, but Kyle Hamilton and bringing over Marcus Williams from the Saints, their safety position is electric. Secondary or the corners, not so much. So if he and that's kind of what our system is built to do is hit those quick routes where you're not really worrying about the safeties that much.
Yeah.
So I think we should win this game. I think we can win this game. It's unfortunate. It is a lot to do with injuries, but I do expect us to take home victory.
Yeah, I fully expect us to take it home as well, especially you know, even offensively, if we are able to take away or take advantage of their lack of, healthy corners, and just kind of push the ball down the field, given their defensive line is still really, really strong of the Ravens.
It is.
So that going against our, rattled front, which honestly, I mentioned it in another video.
You can plug your own channel if you like. Go for it.
So in my video that I made, quick review presented by JK Productions, uh, I showed there was one play in particular where there was only four rushers, five offensive linemen. Eichenberg had pulled to sell the run, and we had Armstead guarding a defensive tackle one on one, and then you had Connor Williams had a guy straight in front of him, and then he went to double team another defensive end. So that can't happen. I'm not sure if that was on Tua for his protections. I'm not sure if that was Connor Williams just plain out missing that block, but that was a 15-yard play to Gesicki right there if he didn't have pressure in his face and ended up with a sack.
Yeah. So the lines are going to be very key for both teams, but both sides of things. Before we wrap this up, score prediction. How do you think it's going to go?
I think it's going to be a fairly low-scoring game. I'm going to give the Ravens 6 points. Yeah.
Oh, that's really low scoring.
And I'm going to give the Dolphins 17.
Okay, I'm going to be a little more optimistic for a good game that I'm not sleeping through because that's absolutely horrible. I think we're going to get in the end zone a couple times. So I'm going to go with 24 to I'm going to go 24-13. I think
13.
Yeah, because I think they'll have an issue getting into the end zone. The offense, they played the Jets last week. The Jets are actually, hey Joe, hopefully you listen to this. The Jets are the worst team in the league. My video that I put out, you guys watching this on Saturday or Sunday, I put out the video yesterday. The Jets are dog water, to answer my own question for my own thumbnail. The Jets are terrible. Now, they did have Joe Flacco, and Zach Wilson coming back will make a big difference for their team, but the Jets are terrible, all right?
Jets are terrible.
And, the Ravens didn't necessarily do anything special. Obviously, the two touchdowns to Devin Duvernay were nice, but there wasn't anything special or unique about that game that the Ravens did last week, and they still very comfortably won. So
was it 26-3?
It was 27. No, they scored a touchdown because Cowboys were the only team to not score a touchdown. So I think it was 27-9 or so, something like that.
Okay.
So the Ravens, they're playing a better team this week. I think they'll struggle to move the ball like they did a little bit against the Jets. They did struggle at the end of the first half. It was 10-3 or something. So I think they will struggle to get the ball in the end zone, but Justin Tucker's a good kicker, so I think they'll have a few field goals. I think they'll get in the end zone. So I'll give it a 2-score game. What I say, 24-13?
You said 24-13. I think also their special teams is really good.
Yeah.
That's why I gave them the 2 field goals.
And they're well coached.
They're well coached. Yeah. I mean, given he's a natural special teams coach, even though he's a QB. So
yeah. So both got the Dolphins winning. Dolphins fans, we're going to sit here and say we're not going to win. Now, this time next week, doing the Bills review, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. All right, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.